Hello guys, DJParson here, and we are back with the last matches of the World Championship of the group stage 6, so of the quarterfinals. If we take a look at the current standings in the quarterfinals, most or half of them are decided. Weidenbaum was not able to beat Santapo, so Santapo is in the semis, and same goes for Enderwigan. And then we have two close matches, LaoHuang versus Lemmingsplayer. You saw one of those games, and I think I said the tiebreaker rules wrong in that video, because as Payada has pointed out, if there's a draw, both players get a point. So we have a 2-2 here. Then we also have Pigfans versus Vida, also 2-2. So unless we get another draw, then we would have another game. These last games are coming, and we're gonna cover one of them, and that is gonna be LaoHuang versus Lemmingsplayer once again. LaoHuang here. I mean, these two guys, the last game that they showed us was the closest, or one of the closest as I've ever seen, ending in a draw. If you haven't watched that, I mean, now I spoiled it, but definitely check that one out. So yeah, LaoHuang here starts his turn by grabbing the pyramids. We can take a quick look at what we have here. We have Colosseum, not the best HA wonders besides the pyramids. Barbarossa could mean Colosseum could be good. Michelangelo, St. Pete's, no sewers, no ocean liner, no Bach, but we have Shakespeare, Churchill, Gandhi, Hollywood, Red Cross. Alright. So, yeah, LaoHuang gets the pyramids if he wants to. I mean, that leaves the tricky decision for Lemmings. Does he deny the Engineering Genius? Does he go for Colosseum and Rich Land? It's a tough call. Depending on how, yeah, Lemmings wants the engineering genius here, so I would assume that he either takes Stonehenge or Hanging Gardens. Of course, you don't have to do that. He could just skip HA wonders, but with the engineering genius A, I would like. I mean, it's Hanging Gardens and Stonehenge, so maybe he won't take either of them, or it's only the Hanging Gardens that will be left actually. So yeah, LaoHuang now gets Hippocrates. Can elect him. Build a mine, increase pops, standard move, not much to talk about here. And now the interesting thing will be, does Lemmingsplayer go for the Hanging Gardens? Goes to Alex, plays him, builds a mine, and last selection, increase pop and not the Hanging Gardens. So you will have this Engineering Genius HA, so you will have to hope for an early H1 wonder. There's Machu and Forbidden City, not the most. So this was a tricky position for Lemmings. If he didn't deny the Engineering Genius, LaoHuang could finish the early pyramids. But now he has an Engineering Genius that he grabbed for 2 and no wonder. So yeah, tricky start for him, I would say. LaoHuang grabs the printing press here, grabs a breakthrough, 2 cards for 2 selections. I mean, sure, if he wants printing presses, he doesn't want to build the second lab, so no need to build that one. The first card was full of HA cards, you don't want them. So the alternative would have been build one step and maybe take the rich land, but here he gets the printing press and breakthrough, so that's also pretty good. And especially because he will have extra civil actions starting next turn when he finishes the pyramids. So spending a couple of extra civil actions this early on for some very good H1 cards, can definitely see that being good. Now, will Lemmingsplayer already use Alex? Let's see here. He will, and then he grabs Eleanor for 2 civil actions. And sure, wants a new leader. Same is kind of true for LaoHuang. He has two more charges to get with Hippocrates. After that, he needs a new leader too. So Lemmings will go for Eleanor here. Also elect her, and what does he do? Build another lab. Alright. So skips on the alchemy, on the swordsman. I think that's not the biggest problem. He won't have any alchemy, so that won't be a possibility for him. But yeah, most important, he's still searching for wonder. LaoHuang opens the development of markets. Take the rocks. Can even go for masonry and those pyramids then. A lot of corruption. He will increase pop once. Yeah, I like that. The masonry here means the printing press will be very cheap. 2 rocks only. He has the civil actions. So next turn he will really start producing a lot of science. and the culture as well already, of course, with those printing presses. So I think that's a pretty strong start, getting the masonry here. Now Lemmingsplayer, he has to push, of course, being Eleanor and all. Development of planning is opened. What do we have? We have politics, science, religion. Lemmingsplayer takes the science, means he has 6 this turn. Can just grab and develop the code of laws. Then he has to get out of corruption, so pop again. So he misses out on the monarchy, on the knights. But yeah, he had to get out of corruption here, and the code of laws is worth that. I was thinking maybe he could go for monarchy, build Aurora, but yeah, going for a monarchy revolution, because that's what he would probably do. And already having spent the science on the code is not ideal. So I think I agree with this, just pop twice. Yeah. He's still searching for a wonder. Engineering Genius not doing a lot at the moment, but there are some wonders. First though, we get the development of agriculture. LaoHuang also, he needs a new leader, and I don't think he's gonna go Genghis Khan, especially for 2 civil actions. We'll build 1, oh no, develop, and build 1 and a second printing press for only 4 rocks in total. Printing presses for 2 rocks are pretty insane this early on, I have to say. Good science and culture as well now. With this last civil action, he can grab the monarchy. I mean, yeah, he has the science production now, so why not go for the monarchy to do something with that science, maybe in 2 turns. Lemmings will push, opens the development of civil life. Maybe can use the to increase pop 1 more time. Yeah, does that and pops again, so now he has a lot of population. So it's not really the best synergy, having a lot of population and still needing a wonder. I mean, he has a lot of rocks as well, so it could be worse. Let's see if he decides to grab a wonder here. We'll build a warrior to get out of corruption. Show a tactic. Grab the breakthrough. Grab a printing press. I mean, yeah, he has population still. Perhaps an urban growth. And the reserves. So I guess he might want to go for the St. Pete's, and he can't go for the Machu Picchu anyway. But LaoHuang could definitely deny the St. Pete's Basilica. I guess he will do that probably, but yeah, loading up on a lot of yellow cards. Can go for printing press next turn, build with the urban growth. Still needs happy faces, that's where the St. Pete's would have been great. But of course there's still other solutions for happy faces. LaoHuang grabs Nostradamus, he finally gets a new leader. Does he also go for St. Pete's? Yes, he does. And with his last selection grabs an iron. So next turn he could go for the monarchy here. I think it is the correct choice to deny that St. Pete's. I mean, he also needs happy faces. He invested a little bit of population into printing presses. So he needs happy faces somehow, and St. Pete's is pretty good with that. Not enough next turn to finish it, but in 2 turns he will. And he still has the population, so he's not in a rush to finish this. Also now he will not be weaker. Might even build another warrior and show the fighting band if he has it. Doesn't have it though. So Lemmings will be stronger in his turn, but he will also be weaker thanks to LaoHuang's Nostradamus. So let's see if Lemmingsplayer pushes. I mean, probably wants to with Eleanor. Yes, he does, drawing 2 extra cards and opening the wealthy. That's good. I mean, now if only he had a wonder, so he wins this for just Aurora and has 13 rocks. Can build 2 printing presses maybe. Number 1, number 2. Grab irrigation, so deny that from his opponent. So next turn he can go for the irrigation, upgrade those, but he will run out of time for his engineering genius. The age will end before he can use that. And that was the first 2 civil actions that he spent this game are now being discarded. So yeah, that was rough, but sometimes that happens if you skip HA wonders. He got a little bit unlucky that most of the wonders were a little bit late. I thought maybe last turn he could have just grabbed the St. Pete's Basilica for 2 civil actions. It's not that expensive, especially because he had the code, and that would have been a very nice addition. So I think he could have maybe grabbed the St. Pete. It's not the biggest difference. For a good wonder, you can pay the 1 extra civil action. But he decided against it, and for that he will lose the Engineering Genius. If he had that wonder, he could have used the Engineering Genius probably this turn. But he decided against it. But he has printing presses now, good science production as well. And we see another territory, and this one LaoHuang is able to win. That's very, yeah, I mean, strategic territory sometimes is hard to evaluate, but getting that for just Aurora, nothing else, is pretty strong. The card draw from H1, maybe not the biggest factor at this point, but the 2 strength is not bad. And it helps for input of colonies, and in general, I like getting that early on. He's now stronger by quite a bit, grabs the drama, goes for iron. So, yeah, as we said, he's not in a hurry for this St. Pete's. Especially for him, that colony. Winning that colony means at the end of the age, which we will see now, he loses 2 yellow cubes. Oh, he only loses 1 yellow cube then because of Hippocrates, then it doesn't really matter. I thought that sending away the warrior meant that he had no extra unhappy worker, but thanks to Hippocrates he will only lose 1 anyway. So that's still looking good for him. And then Lemmingsplayer will start us into H2. He will lose that Engineering Genius, but he can push again. And we get another territory, and LaoHuang is again able to win it. Looks like Lemmingsplayer wasn't too lucky with his card draw as far as the colonization cards go. Always hard to say when you don't see his cards in hand, but he probably would have kept colonization cards. I would imagine that, I mean, at least 2 of these colonies were from him. Maybe not. We don't know that. But yeah, now Lemmings goes for irrigation. Can upgrade 1 and another one. Does he still go for Forbidden City? No, he wants the Knights and Rich Land. Still going without a wonder. And his opponent is already building his 2nd one. I mean, when we look at the civilization of Lemmings, it doesn't look too bad, having printing presses and irrigation. But the biggest factor is, yeah, no wonder. Nothing that the wonder gives. I mean, you can also argue then he can grab the H2 wonders cheap because he doesn't have to pay any extra civil actions. It also helps in H3 being able to grab those if you don't have a lot of wonders. But yeah, feels like a little bit is missing from his civilization at this point because of not having any wonders. So LaoHuang opens uncertain borders. That is rough. That is very rough. Lemmingsplayer losing a yellow cube, and LaoHuang of course gaining 1, making his yellow bank very, very healthy. I mean, he hasn't gotten any from the territories, but stolen 1, lost 1 less thanks to Hippocrates. So even with his little food production, he has 2 free population. And in 3 turns he will have another one, so that is not great, but it's okay, I think. And he increases pop. Oh, even with frugality, he will have even more population sooner. Grabs the Engineering Genius. Doesn't really work with St. Pete's and the Masonry, but yeah, I guess it's better than... I mean, he could have even grabbed another frugality and the patriotism. I think that might have been better than the Engineering Genius, to be honest. Because he has a lot of rocks, he's missing military actions and food, and then frugality and patriotism would have been perfect for that. And Lemmings actually doesn't push here, he's afraid of what might be coming. Goes for Catherine, gets back the extra civil actions from Eleanor, goes for Bread and Circuses. Bread and Circuses, instead of paying an extra civil action to go for the team sports. That's interesting. Let's see if he really needs every single civil action this turn. He will develop that. He will build 1. Grab selective breeding. Yeah, I guess denying selective breeding is quite important. Yeah, and the difference between team sports and Bread and Circus is not that big. Yeah, it's a tough call for me. On the one hand, sure, you don't want to give LaoHuang the food production. On the other hand, he has a lot of population anyway. So is that really going to be the biggest factor? I mean, it's still very early on. And the selective breeding would have, yeah, elevated LaoHuang's population and his position in general quite a bit. So yeah, maybe it's the right call to deny this selective breeding and then go for the bread and circus instead of team sports. LaoHuang also doesn't push here, interestingly, goes for late monarchy, grabs strategy and rifleman. Then he will build a warrior. Okay, so yeah, 3 civil actions for the strategy, 2 for the rifleman, means most of his civil actions are spent on that. Builds a warrior, so there could be a colony. That might also be the reason why he didn't push, because he knows there's a colony or that it might be a colony, and if he doesn't have a warrior, he can't bid anything. This is out on a breakthrough, but yeah, I guess that's fine. And then also on the patriotism, but with the strategy, this is a very good pickup for him. And also getting the rifleman, this looks like he might go for military or just secure his military position. His opponent has a military leader, has knights, has, I guess, bread and circuses. So getting strategy is very important. And then rifleman, when no player has gone for swordsman, is also a very, very important tech. So I like that. I like what he's doing here. So Lemmings, can he push this time? Yes, he will. And we get immigration, which Lemmings is able to win, so that's nicely timed after going for that bread and circus. So he gets an extra population. We'll develop the knights, grab a revolutionary idea, build 1 knight. Does he have tactic? Builds another bread and circus. Alright. Especially with that extra influx of population from the immigration. I think that was really helpful for him, because now he can increase population next turn and it will be a happy population, so you can use that. So having these 2 bread and circuses gives him the happy faces that he needs. Goes up to 5 strength, not too much yet, but he will show his tactic, so up to 7 he goes, and we see the medieval army. So that might be a little bit tricky for LaoHuang to catch up. He has no science, so Lemmings might have the opportunity to use Catherine, steal that yellow cube. And then he also gets patriotism here. Yeah, looks like he wants to go for war a little bit, or maybe not war, maybe just show a little bit of strength. LaoHuang will push, and we get new deposits. 6 extra rocks for him. That's a lot of extra rocks. Can then deny the Conmon. Lemmings had 8 science, and with Revolutionary Idea would have been able to go for the Conmon, so that has to be denied here. So lucky for LaoHuang that it comes out during his turn. Will finish the St. Pete's, increase population, and that's about it then. Alright, so yeah, this engineering genius might still be hard to use, as I pointed out. On the other hand, I mean, the frugality would have been quite good. He could have used that now. Maybe would have given him corruption or anything. And his hand space, it's not really that limited. But yeah, he's able to finish the St. Pete's here, gives him the happy faces. Thanks to the Mason, he only has to spend 2 civil actions on that St. Pete's. And yeah, most of his civil actions, or half of them, went to the Conmon, which I definitely agree had to be denied from his opponent. And he still has a lot of rocks. Next turn he will also have enough for riflemen, so we could see riflemen and build a couple of those. But first, I think Lemmings will steal a yellow cube from him. No, he will push instead. And we get knowledge of the ancients. Yeah, that is one problem when you skip wonders completely. Lemmings doesn't get anything from this, and LaoHuang receives 3 extra science, which is yeah, quite a bit. Lemmings then increases pop. Builds another irrigation. Alright, so he wants more pop. And grabs a railroad. I mean, railroad plus bronze isn't really the best, but there is still the coal, which he could go for. And I guess he has no population and needs somewhere to spend his rocks. Could also see him go for the architecture now. No, his hand is full, so he just plays the revolutionary idea. So maybe the biggest part of the railroad will be the extra strength. But of course, with a rich land, he might still be able to go for coal, and then the railroad will actually start to produce a lot of culture. So yeah, has some benefits to it. LaoHuang will open good harvest. 6 extra food for Lemmings. That is quite a lot. That means a lot of extra population. LaoHuang will then go for Napoleon. Okay, I mean, yeah, if you take a look at the culture, it's pretty close, 4-4. But feels like LaoHuang says, okay, I see a military threat maybe coming with that railroad, with the population that LaoHuang doesn't have at the moment. I guess he still has quite a bit. But yeah, he says, okay, I'll go and play military with Napoleon. We'll grab Republic, another expensive deny. I mean, probably had to do it again, but always keep in mind when you have to deny cards. This is already 6 civil actions that he had to spend on denying the Cornwall and the Republic. So it does come at a cost, denying cards. Let's see, he will build one rifleman, getting stronger than his opponent, increase pop. Build another one, so 11 strength for him. Skips the cavalryman actually, and that is only the first copy, so he might still get the second one. With Napoleon, of course. I mean, we don't know if he has a tactic. If he has defensive army, he doesn't even want cavalrymen. And there's still 2 cannons. So, yeah, it depends a lot on his tactics. But usually with Napoleon, you want all the different techs to get the bonus to strength from Napoleon. Right, so Lemmings can increase pop. Pop again. And grab wave. He used the reserves for rocks, I think. Plays reserves for rocks. Alright, what does he go for here? A knight and one more warrior, so he gets stronger. Not enough rocks to finish the railroad next turn now. I'm still not 100% convinced by the railroad. We will see if he can finish that soon. Or if he first wants to go for coal, then that will be a very, very late railroad. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. The wave is a nice pickup. He needs all the rocks that he can get. LaoHuang probably wants to get stronger to disable the ability of Catherine, and that should enable the wave. He's coming at the problem now with having only the Burn Circus and not the team sports. 2 of them will only give 4 happy faces, and he can't even build more because he's still on despotism. So yeah, that's coming down to that decision where he didn't go for team sport but the Burn Circus instead, means he might, I mean, at the end of the age he will actually have a population and happy face issue a little bit. So that will be interesting to see how we can solve that. LaoHuang will boldly grab the Eiffel Tower, use this engineering genius, and then just finish it. He says he's not afraid. Grabs the cannon here. This will allow Lemmingsplayer to steal 1 yellow cube with Catherine. But yeah, looks like LaoHuang feels confident that he can still beat a strength push and get in this sneaky Eiffel Tower to produce the extra culture. So now if we stay in a military race, he will outproduce his opponent in culture by quite a bit. So that's pretty interesting. He also doesn't end the age, meaning Lemmingsplayer won't draw H3 cards, but only H2 cards. Oh, he does actually get stronger. He can play or copy the Legion. Yeah, adopts, so copies the Legion. So he will actually get stronger, so a Lemmingsplayer won't be able to use Catherine, but he will have the Wave of Nationalism enabled. I'm not sure if he can use that though. So LaoHuang getting the Eiffel Tower, still getting stronger. So doing both a little bit. Lemmings now goes for navigation. Yeah, he has a lot of science, he wants to spend that somewhere. Increases population. Starts building on the railroad. Yeah, this game is, I don't know, faltering a little bit for Lemmingsplayer at this point. This railroad probably won't be too good. He just had too much science that he couldn't spend because his opponent denied the Republic, denied the Cornmon, denied the strategy. All of these are great techs to have if you have a lot of science production. But as we see, Lemmings had 20 science stored up. And now he spent 6 of that on the navigation, but still too much in his bank. So he's probably hoping for an early H3 government, democracy to maybe catch up in culture, or fundamentalism to just go ham on the military. But now he will actually be stronger thanks to the navigation. And he will have enough rocks next turn to finish the railroad, but as we said, happy faces are looming on him. We start into H3, LaoHuang gets back 1 yellow cube thanks to Procrates, Lemmings loses rich land, and LaoHuang loses the drama. LaoHuang then can finally go for the strategy, grab or deny the coal, grab a reserves, grab an engineering genius, build printing press, upgrade a rifleman, and he will actually show his tactic, the defensive army. Yeah, I guess he can show that. That's military action efficient, and Lemmingsplayer is in no position to copy that tactic. He has 2 knights and no upgrades for his warriors, so this is not a tactic that he wants. So LaoHuang says, yeah, sure, I'll just show that this turn. Next turn, he can, with the reserves, go for extra pop, build a cannon if he needs to, and then he will fulfill the tactic and get even extra strength from Napoleon. So he's, yeah, definitely in the driver's seat at the moment. He has the culture lead, he's producing more culture, he's producing more rocks. He has more strength and a lot of strength potential with Napoleon and tactic. Yeah, hard to see anything where Lemmingsplayer is on top. He has an uprising problem. He has still no government, not a lot of civil and military actions. So yeah, start of H3 is definitely looking good for LaoHuang. Let's see if Lemmingsplayer can maybe salvage that. He gets an oil here. Develops that actually and upgrades 1. Having to destroy Aurora. So okay, I mean, yeah, get more rocks together. Biggest problem here that I see, he can't finish the railroad next turn. If he had 1 more rock next turn, this would be quite a brilliant move. And still might be a good move, and super early oil together with the potential of the railroad will mean a lot of rocks for him. But if he had 1 more rock, railroad would be finished next turn, and then it would be very, very strong. We will see now what LaoHuang does. If he has a war, then he can't really respond too well to that. We will see if LaoHuang has a war or not, or if he just pushes. He will push, and we get vast territory, and LaoHuang is able to win this one. For just a rifleman, that is strong. So now his population, that was one of his weaknesses, is once again looking pretty solid. Can go for a cannon now. Grab the revolutionary idea for 3. Pop twice, maybe, or just once, and grab a yellow card. No, pops again. So having exactly the food to pop twice. Can build the cannon, fulfilling the tactic now, and up to 24 strength. Yeah, that's a lot of extra strength. That's very, very strong. And now Lemmings, as I said, if he now could finish this railroad, he would go up 5 strength, would make it easier for him to defend, and he would start produce a 12 culture turn that has a lot of potential. But LaoHuang, like this, is getting away with culture, is still producing good rocks, and now the big threat is military. Lemmings can't really solve that in a good way. We'll go for modern infantry. I mean, that at least, I guess he shows his tactic. He can go for the conquistadors. It's not the best. It's not much less efficient than defensive army. The biggest problem might be that LaoHuang could even upgrade to a better one, potentially to the modern army. So maybe Lemmings has to deny the tanks, but I don't think he can do that. I would assume that he goes for Churchill and modern infantry now. Goes for Churchill, develops the modern infantry, upgrades 1, going up to 18 strength. So yeah, this probably means he can defend, and that is maybe the most important news about this turn, being able to defend while not having to destroy anything. And then next turn he can get the railroad, giving him 5 more strength. Yeah, just still having that despotism is definitely hurting him. And now he doesn't even have the science to go for an H3 government form next turn. So where does he take this game? With the extra rocks from the oil, potentially could go for movies, but he's now on 2 culture production versus 9, and quite far behind in culture as well. So it's hard to see how he can come back here. LaoHuang pushes again, and we get the autonomous, and Lemmings is actually able to win this one. This might be very good for him. He has to send only a knight and a card, and he will take from that, he will take the 4 science, which will allow him to go for new government form, or at least the fundamentalism or the democracy. So he really has to hope that one of those two comes out. Then he might be looking pretty strong. If he gets a new government form, he can still finish the railroad. Still going to be a tricky position, but the extra science here, good idea to get the government form. LaoHuang now goes and plays reserves, grabs another reserves, grabs a revolutionary idea, plays a cannon, shows a new tactic, entrenchments. So he gets the upgrade from the defensive army to the entrenchments. So he just needs 4 cannons, and that will be another big strength push. He's up to 30 now versus the 11, because Lemmings is currently not fulfilling any tactic. Destroys, so destroys a lab, goes for cannon. Yeah, LaoHuang is doing everything right, I would say. He has the culture lead, has more culture production, and behind that he just builds military. He's pretty efficient in building military because of Napoleon. I guess Lemmings is also efficient thanks to Churchill now, but yeah, Lemmings is just behind in strength too much, so that if LaoHuang just puts everything, all his rocks into military, Lemmings might keep up, but while the build-up is going on, LaoHuang will just be producing a lot more culture, and that then will give him quite a big lead. So Lemmings, does he get a government form? At least he gets pro sports and no new government form. So he will finish the railroad, grabs movies. He has to find a solution to somehow get culture. Will destroy a mine. I mean, these mines can be destroyed. Now that's freeing up a lot of population, which is great. Interesting that he doesn't go for pro sports. They would be military, but maybe not enough for right now. And he feels like he needs to go for movies, but even movies probably won't be enough. But the way this is standing, he can't even go for a war. Not with 3 MAs and not versus someone who's about to fulfill the 2nd entrenchments. Has enough science and will get the air forces. So yeah, tough position, tough position. LaoHuang could even try an aggression if he wants, or he could just push, could even go for a war. But no, he will steal 5 science, and that means there is a democracy. I mean, probably is going to get denied by LaoHuang again, but putting Lemmings down to 16 science again might even mean that LaoHuang doesn't have to go for the democracy. He will go for air forces, pops, builds one of those air forces, 49 strength, pops again. So yeah, next turn he could declare war, build another cannon, fulfill the tactic once more. I guess at least Lemmings has enough for air forces if that's what he wants to go for. But yeah, now with having not enough science, democracy is just gonna stay on the deck, so yeah. Now that he could go for government form, he doesn't have the science anymore. And then they come out, communism as well, and he has to go for air forces. Will develop that one, can destroy philosophies, so that's what they are there for, and also a mine, build an air force, build a knight, destroy another philosophy, build another knight, 47 strength. So yeah, as we said, he is keeping up, but while this is going on, he's falling further and further behind in culture. Yeah, now also with the movies, as I said, if he had gotten pro sports, at least that would solve his heavy phases, but yeah, probably wouldn't do much either here. But looking at this next turn, when the end of the age is coming, he will have an uprising problem too. He might have enough food to be fine, but we will see. Or he might not. Refugees here, that hurts. This giving even more payoff to LaoHuang for being stronger, while he's already getting a lot of payoff by his opponent destroying a lot of his buildings. So yeah, more population for LaoHuang. Can build a cannon and is even ready to go for an Air Force next turn, but he says nope, don't need it probably, I'll just go for Gandhi. Casual Gandhi with 55 strength, just to make it even more impossible for Lemmings to go for war. I mean, I think it was impossible before, but now it's even impossibler, if you can say that. So yeah, just securing his win. No way, I would say, for him to lose now. We'll grab satellites, computers, go for Republic and grab engineering. I guess just to get his hand space and taking enough cards to end the age then. And it's a neat trick. So he had the Conmon. So developing the Republic over the Conmon doesn't give you any extra civil actions, because you have to spend the one that you gain. But it frees up hand space and making him able to grab the Engineering Genius. That means the age will end after Lemmingsplayer's turn. So this is just securing the win for LaoHuang 100%, I would say. We had an Independence Declaration. Lemmings can lose one of his colonies. Can build 2 religions. I mean, as we said, LaoHuang probably could have defended by just not going Gandhi, going for something else, but why risk it, right? Why go for anything but securing your win 100%? And I think Gandhi is doing exactly that. I mean, if he hadn't, Lemmings could have gone for military theory, another Air Force, something, and that would be a little bit of a risk left, but not like this. So Lemmings can do nothing but build a couple of religions. And then with his last civil action, maybe grab reserves or something. We'll actually destroy a knight, build another farm. Maybe there's a bit of agriculture or something like that. And we will get the last turns in H4 now. LaoHuang pushes, we get terrorism, so at least something for Lemmings going right. Can destroy one of those printing presses that have been, yeah, probably annoying him this entire game. LaoHuang goes for a couple of religions, grabs the Red Cross, but can't build a stage. Actually gifting culture to Lemmingsplayer, offering a hand, saying, come on, now we play and go for the Red Cross, do something good in this world. So being a true Gandhi, I guess. And now Lemmings, with his last turn, can push. We get the first impact, population 12 to 12. Can go for 1 movies at least. Can destroy another knight, go for 1 movies. So we'll end with a little bit of culture production. Goes 1 lab, so actually grabs internet instead of... No, he did build 1 stage of the Red Cross, then grabs internet. So he also has a wonder to build. But of course, this is going to be the last turn, so we will end with just despotism and quite the gap in culture. We get impact of agriculture, actually makes it a little bit closer. Very good impact for Lemmings. Then we have wonders. Yeah, as we said, Lemmings skipping the HA wonders is not good for the impact of wonders. Of course, at 12 to 3. We have strength 10 to 0, and the last one, happiness 16 to 14, and that will be it. Congratulations to LaoHuang for winning this match and advancing to the semi-finals. Yeah, very solid game by him. Especially in the end, just never really was in danger. I think it was pretty clear in H3 that he had the way better position. He played it out pretty well. I think I liked the Eiffel Tower, just giving him the edge in culture early on, and then keeping up in the military race. So yeah, well played LaoHuang. Sad for Lemmingsplayer, he is not going to be able to advance, but he made it pretty far. That goes for all of the players, of course. As you can see here, all the players that made it to the quarterfinals. Congratulations, you made it really far. But sadly, we will have to say goodbye to Weidenbaum, to Lemmingsplayer, since LaoHuang will be able to win this game and he will advance to the semi-finals. So he's going to face up against Sand Hippo. And then we have to say, or we already said goodbye to Vanish Shadow, who was not able to win versus Ender again. And actually, we're not going to cover the last game. It is also already finished, and Vida was able to win that match. So we have all 4 of our semi-finalists: Sand Hippo, LaoHuang, Enderwigan, and Vida, all from China. So China showing how strong they are. We had seven Chinese players in the top 16, and actually none of them were kicked out in the round of 16. Now in the quarterfinals we had 6, and 2 of them had to say goodbye, but the rest of the players that are left are all Chinese. So that's going to be quite interesting. We have some big names. Enderwigan, LaoHuang. I think Enderwigan was the most favored player to win this whole thing. Can see if he will come true to that prediction, but at the moment he's definitely showing a lot of strength. Sandhippo as well has to be a top candidate now, winning 3-0 versus Vivi and then 3-0 versus Weidenbaum, who was I think the player with the best statistics up to this point. So look out for Sandhippo. So yeah, this was the quarterfinals. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Next up are the semifinals, which are going to start this week. And these are some hype matches. Sandhippo versus LaoHuang, and then Enderwigan versus Vida. All the names are well known, so it's awesome to see that they made it this far. So yeah, be excited or be ready to see those matches covered here on the channel as well. If you don't want to miss that, definitely subscribe to the channel. Hope you enjoyed this video, hope you enjoyed the whole coverage of the quarterfinals, and see you very soon for the semifinals.